everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the always growing, ever expanding, award-winning fan show. And up until now, the part where I say the award-winning is always just referred to the one award that I'm very proud of to have won, and that is the 2018 Spokane Entrepreneurship Award for Best Media, but could potentially change, where I might have to list how many awards I've won, but not to get ahead of myself. The fan show has been nominated again for an award. Who would have thought that would happen? The Podcast Awards at podcastawards.com, which have been doing this every year for like the last 10 years. And I was nominated, so thank you, Fan Nation. Shout out to whoever it was that nominated us. Nominated for People's Choice Award, which is the Adam Curry People's Choice Award. People believe, actually, it doesn't matter what people believe, Adam Curry is credited for the invention of the podcast. Podcasts have been around since the 1980s as audio blogs, but the actual podcast does go to the credit of Adam Curry, I think back in 2004. So the Adam Curry People's Choice Award we're nominated for, as well as, well, you guessed it, Best Sports Podcast as well. This, of course, on the heels of the big division announcement that we had last a few weeks ago, that the fan show is going to be branching off its duties in an official capacity. There will be a robotics, a wrestling, a pop culture, a I've already forgotten them. A music, and then finally an outdoors division, completing the 6 divisions for the Infinity Gauntlet that we've come to call it around here. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So right now nominated for Best Sports, and I believe Recreation is how it's listed, how the show is registered for this particular award, but the category is Best Sports, and we're up against some stiff competition. I checked it out myself, so I'm not holding my my breath or getting my hopes up, but it would be fun to win something like this. It really would. I'm not going to lie. I think there's not, at least right now, there could be years from now a huge, awards thing like this for the world of podcasting. God knows we have so many for music and movies and television. I mean, it seems like there's a new award show every year. There's as many award shows as there are college bowl games. I can't talk tonight, but there's a lot of award shows, right? There's People's Choice Music Awards. There's the MTV Music Awards. Not that even counts anymore. There's the Grammys. There's the Slammies. There's the Whammies. There's the whatever else is, and then the Emmys and whatever other Z's, right, out there. So maybe podcasting, maybe that world, that culture will have 18 different kind of award shows where the fan show can maybe take home one from one of them. We'll see. But for right now, you can, 3 easy steps. You go to podcastawards.com, and then you click nominations and register. You'll put in your first and last name, your email. You'll create a password, the same mumbo jumbo. And then you'll let them know if you want to be selected as one of the potential voters for this, which, hey, if you're doing it on behalf of the fan show, might as well, right? And then it will show you the list of the categories, the different awards, and you just have to click on the first one, which is the People's Choice, and then scroll. And trust me, there's a lot to scroll through because there's quite a few categories. And you will click the fan show, which is listed under T's, not F. So if you don't find it under F, scroll down to T, the fan show, and then you'll select that one, and then scroll down, and then you'll see sports. And you will do the same thing there. Not nearly as many to scroll through, and then you'll see the fan show, and you select it, and then you click Save Nominations. And that will submit your nomination and your vote for the fan show. I thank all of you. It's been a great weekend. It really was. Spent a weekend in Boston. I spent 24 hours in Worcester. Spent 23 at Boston Logan Airport. That's not a joke at all. I spent a very long time in that airport. But I do know that airport frontwards and backwards, which is fitting for tonight's guest. We're back on track this week after doing a little Facebook Live Q&A in place of last night's episode because I did not have a guest booked. And I didn't feel like talking for 45 to 50 minutes, but I probably could have. And so did the Q&A last night. We're back on track tonight. It is Wednesday. That means Battlebots. We've got Victor Soto, the man behind Rotator, which is the bot that works the same frontwards and backwards, right side up and upside down. So we're going to talk to him, figure out what he believes, is the best bot out there. Is it Rotator? Is it somebody else? We have 2 weeks now of no new Battlebots, but of course it is in lieu of Shark Week. All hail Shark Week. Shark bait, ooga-ha. So we will be back to robot fighting time and all the action next week. And so we're just going to keep it trucking here. But let's go ahead and get through the headlines. And the headlines are that camps are starting right now, and of course, with that comes the drama, and I'm, of course, referring to the NFL. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here for the NFL headlines. Since somehow... Oh, no, there it is. I was like, that tab closed. Headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. Hit up Ethan and customize your world. He can do everything, screen printing, embroidery, and if you can dream it, you can do it. You can slap your logo or artwork on it. He's the man to go to, whether it's foam fingers, hats, t-shirts, trophies, coasters, boxer shorts. I don't know how much is too much, but I know that he can do it. So go and hit up Ethan at Dynamite Enterprises, Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com. Follow him on Instagram, Dynamite Enterprises. They're a good follow on there. Jerry Jones says Cowboys must stand for the anthem. Of course, we've had a lot of anthem talk, haven't we? Except you'd think that by now we would have moved on from the fact that it's not protesting the anthem. It's players choosing to display their thoughts on social, racial, whatever other injustices there are in the world. And they do so during the anthem. They are not protesting the anthem. They are protesting during the anthem. Browns discuss adding Dez Bryant with Gordon away. Let's see. Tomlin, he's done with the Le'Veon Bell questions. I don't blame him. But Todd Gurley did get paid. Oh, my, did he get paid. Now, let's take a look at what that contract was worth. I think it was a 4-year contract extension, which does not look good for the Steelers at all. Let's see here. Where are you? Yes, there it is. Todd Gurley agrees to a 4-year contract extension with the Rams worth up to, wait for it, $60 million. Oh, my God. Like, I'll take a contract. It doesn't even need to be an extension, but wow. Like, that's a lot. Baker Mayfield signed his rookie deal. Of course, I don't understand why the rookie contracts are breaking news. Like, are they not going to sign? Are they not going to play in the NFL? You're a rookie. Really? Why is this breaking news? But breaking news, as of yesterday, Baker Mayfield agreed to a 4-year deal with the Browns at $32.68 million, fully guaranteed. Let's see here. Sherman believes that the anthem talks with the league are encouraging. And yeah, I mean, that anthem talk, training camp talk, this is the worst part of the NFL offseason. I guess the worst part of the NFL season, if you wanted to look at it for what it is, which is pretty much a 24/7, 365 media, pop culture, entertainment machine, right? That's what the NFL is. So let's call it like we see it. So I'm curious about this one here. Wentz will not start camp on the PUP list, so that's good. He'll be limited, but he won't be put on the physically unable to participate list. Jerry Jones, let's see what we've got here. Jerry Jones, always trying to do what's in the league's best interest, isn't he? As long as it fills his pocketbook. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says his team has a policy requiring Dallas players to stand on the field for the national anthem regardless of any rules the NFL might adopt on the matter. Quote, I don't think this recent effort by the league office and the Players Association to have discussions is a worthy effort, Jones said during a news conference Wednesday at team's training camp site in Oxnard, California. Quote, and that's what you're seeing happen right now, but in general, I will speak for one, and everybody knows where we stand, and we stand as a team. God, he's a politician, isn't he? Our policy is that you stand at the anthem toe on the line, Jones said when asked if he would support a player staying in the locker room during the anthem. So clearly, he has shown his hand, okay, while the rest of the NFL and the Players Association are busy trying to bluff each other or call or fold or whatever. He has pretty much gone all in and shown his hand. And we'll see how, I mean, they are considered America's team, are they not? So I suppose it was only a matter of time before something like this happened with Mr. Jones and his Cowboys. But this is so far from over, and it's so sad because I'd like to just get back to football, you know, if we could. Let them have their talks, but, I mean, there's no need for rules. The NBA had a rule, but they had a rule for a long time. And it was because of completely unrelated reasons. It was due to a player, Brad Williams, my resident NBA expert, gave that story on his episode when he was here. But yeah, it's unnecessary. So I am going to go ahead and go to commercial break. Then that will do it for headlines, other than in case you missed it, my trip to Boston was very entertaining. The thriller that was the Pirates and the Cobras came down to the last play of the game. Pirates with a walk-off touchdown. I mean, that was just a hell of a call by Amir and company, and had a lot of fun. We'll listen to some of those post-game interviews and comments after Victor and I's discussion, but as of right now, Mass is at the top all alone, 10-4. The Pirates are in the National Arena League standings. Then Jacksonville, 9-5, after overcoming the biggest deficit in the 2018 NAL season against who? The Lions, who are 8-5 in third place, and Carolina drops all the way down to numero cuatro at 8-5. Maine got another win. I believe that's 3 in a row. They are at 5-8. Where was this team earlier? They could have been really pushing for a playoff spot, but all 4 spots have been claimed by the top 4 teams in the standings right now. Lehigh Valley continues to be winless. So that'll do it for the headlines. We'll be right back with more of The Fan Show right after this. You're listening to The Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's The Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. That was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo.
Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body, right?
Yeah.
And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and continuing our weekly BattleBots special is the man who, well, forwards, backwards, right side up, upside down. It doesn't matter because Rotator is the bot that does it all, and here's the man behind it, Victor Soto. Welcome, sir. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Richard. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's not a problem, man. I got to say, your bot design, I'm surprised there's not more copycats out there because this is sort of one of those kinds of competitions where you want to be able to have that ability of working upside down and forwards and backwards because as we saw for the last few episodes, Bronco is now in the mix, and he has been making a lot of bots pay with that flipper. But your bot, Rotator, how did you come up with that design? And is anything about it potentially going to change as far as, you know, with the culture changing for BattleBots as well?
Well, the design for Rotator came about from a couple of stages. I had a middleweight back, let's say 8 years ago, called Blue Flame. It was a middleweight robot, 120 pounds. And that was a robot that I competed in the Bots IQ competition. There were basically BattleBots that Trey and Greg organized, but for high school and college students, and that's how I got involved.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, and I actually got inspired to do BattleBots from watching, of course, BattleBots in the Comedy Central days. And one of my favorite team was, of course, Team Loki, because there were guys that I knew they were mentoring me in a first robotics competition that I was involved with through school, and I saw them testing out one of the robots outside, and they're the ones with Surgeon General, and obviously you can see the inspiration of Rotator from Surgeon General.
Yeah, I think it's a great design. I'm surprised, though, that it hasn't been more of like a feared bot, I guess, out there. But so much is what I'm learning, you know, and I've been a fan since the Comedy Central days as well, but getting the opportunity to talk with you guys as builders and being down there for the tapings firsthand, it's really opened up a lot of different doors that I didn't think about, you know, as strictly just a fan standpoint. But so much can go wrong. There's so much that has to go right in order for a bot to be damn near perfect out there in the battle box. Obviously, Ray Billings and Tombstone have figured out what looks like a rather simple concept, but very effective. And then you have Zoe, who with Chomp receives a lot of criticism, but is a design that she believes in, and she's added a lot to try to make it, you know, a bot that continues to evolve and change with the times. You got the guys from Bombshell, you have Bronco, you have so many different, very effective designs, but if there's that one thing that goes wrong, and we saw it with Don Hudson and Lockjaw, where the low scoop got caught in the blade grate there, I mean, it can change everything. So for you guys, you know, going into this, knowing that it was going to be a season format where you guys were going to get, you know, minimum of 4 fights, and then of course the tournament, which is coming up, was there any debate as far as if you guys wanted to change anything? Like maybe there's something about your design that isn't made for longevity because this tested your guys' depth with equipment.
Yeah, well, definitely, you know, building a BattleBot is very tough. Like you said, even on the simplest machine, there's some complexity, and anything that goes wrong with one component can bring down the whole system. Yeah, we actually, in 2016, we had a very brief fight with Witch Doctor, and it was very demoralizing, but after that, we had that thought cross our mind, like, should we change the design? You know, what should we do? And we decided to stick with it. You know, we wanted to come back and prove that the design can work. It is a tough design. That's probably why people haven't tried copying yet. Well, we haven't proved ourselves, but we're basically splitting our weapon power in half by having 2 of them instead of just one, like for example, a Tombstone.
Yeah. And I think that's another fact that goes overlooked is how much, it goes into everything. Because if you're somebody that has multiple weapons, your power for those decreases because you can't put as much focus and emphasis. Obviously, with something like Ice Wave, they've figured out how to have a very high-powered weapon with a big, bulky bot out there that's, gas-powered. It's like a muscle car in the Battlebots. But let's talk a little bit about you guys as a team, because you definitely have some flair, and I wanted to know what inspired the light-up glasses, the sneakers, just your guys' getup, because we've seen the Will Bales and their sort of Miami Vice look, Bombshell with sort of their pit crew, and then we've got Don Hudson with his bowling league kind of look, and then you have the Witch Doctors, and you have the battle royales with Cheese. What inspired the shades and the suits, the jumpsuits?
Well, when we competed in 2016 last season, we didn't have much of an outfit or a theme. We just went to compete. We had our t-shirts and jeans like most people there, and we quickly realized how big of a production it is. It was our first time for a big televised event, and we saw how the crowds would react to the designs, the themes, the drones, the fire, everything. So coming back this year, we thought, well, we really need to step up our game. This is a show. We are entertaining viewers. So we do want to do something different. We want to be flashier. And then that mixed with a very tight schedule this year. We only had about 6 weeks schedule for upgrading the robot and getting it ready. And once we shipped it out, we only had 1 week before we flew out for the competition. So during that 1 week is when we finally thought about a theme, because we spent most of our time concentrating on the robot. So in that 1 week, I was thinking, well, what can we do to get a little more attention, maybe grab the audience's imagination, something. And we have, we are sponsored by Stryker, our company that we all work for. We're all coworkers, and we decided to use one of the company colors, gold, which is supposed to be an accent color. We just went crazy with it, and we had the robot painted with automotive sparkling gold paint for hot rods, and we thought, well, let's match that. Let's do something that our outfit matches with that paint scheme. And I got this ridiculous jacket. I found it online, something I could get quickly. Got the light up gold sneakers. I said, well, you know what? If we're gonna go, let's just go with it. And that's what we have. We actually wanted, I wanted the whole team to wear the sneakers, but we couldn't find the right shoe size for everyone. And we all decided, well, if it's either the team captain wears it or everyone, but not some of the people. So it ended up being just me.
Hey, whatever works. How much do a pair of those glasses cost you guys?
Those things are like $15.
Oh, really? Yeah, 'cause they light up really well. Like, I'm a fan of that design, those Ray-Bans, and I looked, because when I got there, I had my sunglasses on from going out into the pit area where they were driving around the cardboard box, and I remember seeing you guys, and I was just like, oh, now they've stepped it up. Like, now I have something to strive for.
Yeah, we're trying to improve it. We actually we got the light up glasses. It's electroluminescent, and we had LEDs all over the robot, and unfortunately we had to take them off the robot because we had some issues with the lights. But our theme was supposed to be kind of like just light up, illuminated, all bright and shiny.
Yeah, people love shiny, right?
Yeah.
Well, we are at the I think someone said it's like the official midway point of like the season as a whole, and so we're going to see a little bit more of the regular season, the last portion of it, and then of course we have the tournament. There's going to be the Desperado tournament, which is a new concept, a lot of new concepts for this season 3. What's been your favorite part about the new format, whether it's the Desperado tournament, the full season, the 4 fights, or just the fact that you're down there filming this for more than a week? And then what's been the biggest hurdle to try to overcome this season?
I got to say, my favorite part was the new format with the pre-qualifying fights, I guess you can call them, the 4 fights that eventually dictates what your ranking is, to see if you make it to the tournament bracket. Last season, we only had a 20-second fight. Didn't really chance to prove ourselves. We were lucky enough we were able to get into a rumble with Disco Inferno and Splatter and showed a little bit of what we can do there. So we were totally pumped for this season. Once we heard about the new format, we said, yes, this is what we want. More exposure, more time. Because with every fight, you get more experience. You learn more about your robot. A lot of it can't be calculated ahead of time. You have to learn just through experience. And you get several chances to prove yourself. We actually had our first loss against Petunia. But we came back and we got a couple of wins against Predator and Warrior Dragon. So just love the fact that you get multiple fights. You get to experience different opponents. The Desperado adds a whole other dimension to it. Robots that are kind of down on their luck or having a tough start get a chance to prove themselves and claim a spot in the top 16. So it's just really exciting. They're always throwing curveballs at us. There were also bounties that they had announced in one of the meetings, and it was if you wanted to, you could face Tombstone or Minotaur, and if you won, of course, it would really boost they would call it like your fight resume, and it would improve your chances of getting into the top 16. But I don't think they really wanted to do that, so they kind of scrapped that idea. But it was always cool, new, different ideas that they were throwing, and the Desperado tournament was one of them.
Yeah, I like the concept. I do like the rumbles, but it'll be interesting to see how they go from this season to the next one with the fight card style, because I know that there's been a lot of debate about different matchups. In fact, I was just talking on last week's episode that I feel like there's certain matchups, obviously, that are ones that we as fans have wanted to see, and the only way that you would get those in the tournament is if you manipulated the tournament so that you got those and at a specific point, and nobody wants that, But obviously opening up the new season with Minotaur and Tombstone was great. But then, we talked about how you have Battle Royale with Cheese going up against Hypershock, which is kind of like almost a gimme for Hypershock because they needed a win. But you haven't seen that kind of thing with, I guess, the more advanced bots. Like Bombshell sitting at 0-3 is probably the biggest surprise, but he's gone up against three of the toughest bots out there, where, there could be another bot that's 3-0 that's gone against bots that probably wouldn't make it into the top 16 at all. So do you think that record and other things like that will either change as far as their relevance into the 16-team tournament, pending, of course, we don't know what that is right now this season. But, is that something that you feel like maybe there might be too much emphasis on, given how many different types of bots there are out there?
Yeah, so that's that was a new feature this year with the whole ranking system and the 4 matches, and that's one of the things that I got to say with Battle Royale with Cheese. They actually had a functioning weapon in the test arena, and it was pretty scary. And it's just one of those things where the producers are trying to create matchups that would be very exciting for the audience, and nobody knew how that fight could have gone because they could have had a functioning weapon at that point, and they have this big steel bar that if it was up to speed, I think it really could do some damage. But that's part of the benefit of having this new format, where then you get 3 more chances to prove yourself. So it does benefit the builders and the audience. You can mix these interesting matchups and try to build up your presence and your resume, your build fight resume, I guess you can call it. Yeah, it's just getting more exposure, getting more fights. It is an improvement, I think.
Yeah, because when I put together a weekly top 10, and I'm actually working right now, I'm going to binge watch all the episodes this week up to where we are when the new one airs next week. But I'm going to do my own top 16 to, my opinion of where each bot is as far as if the tournament started tomorrow as opposed to a bit later on in the season. But when I do my top 10, I'm looking at, okay, so win-loss, obviously, and then when it comes to the win, their strength of win, like was it a knockout within 3 seconds, or did it go the distance into the judges? And then, okay, so they won by knockout, but who was it against? So strength of opponent then after strength of victory. Was it against a Petunia or was it against a Minotaur? Or, and you know, nothing against Petunia or anything. These are just examples. But, and then after that, it's like, you know, how recent was the fight and so on and so forth, because I do weekly. I just feel like when they sit down and do this 16 seed tournament, they really have to look at, you know, things like that. Strength of victory, strength of opponent. I don't want to say too much as far as like the entertainment value coming in, because if you put together 16 of the best bots out of 55, like you're going to have entertainment alone just with those 16 in the mix. So that's just my feeling on it, though. I don't know if you guys had a discussion or were asked for any input as the bot builders, but I feel like you guys should probably have some input on how that would all break out.
Yeah, so actually I realize I didn't answer one of your questions from before, but it is related to this, that the top 16, we were told, weren't decided just purely on the record, because they knew that there were different factors at play coming into play, like you're talking about, like the strength of schedule or strength of victory, how you won, like a robot that could be 0-3 but lost to Minotaur, Tombstone, Gigabyte, could probably have a good chance against a robot that was 3-1, but that won against robots that either couldn't get out of the starting box, had functional problems, or just broke down and caught on fire. So there were a lot of factors that come into play, and during the competition, we actually didn't really know where we stood ranking wise. So we were always asking the producers. Everyone always wants to get into the tournament bracket. Everyone wants to do well. And they would tell us that there was just a lot of different factors coming into play. And also part of the things is in the pit area, it's hard to tell because the matches are, you know, aired once a week or every episode for a week. But, for example, in the first 2 days, we had to fight first day and the second day. So did Tombstone and so did Bite Force. And we had less than 24 hours to fix any damages that we might have gotten in our first fight. And that's something that doesn't really play a lot of the behind the scenes. But there are other robots that could have waited 3 days between two matches, and they were a lot more fresh for their second fight. So I think those were also factors that the producers took into account.
Well, that's good. I think Discovery definitely wants to work with you guys to figure out, you know, like what's going to make for the best competition, what's going to make you guys as builders happy. I mean, how much did Discovery like sit down with you guys as builders before this whole thing got started and said, you know, like help us help you, and here's what to expect, what do you think of this? Because I feel like that kind of round table would need to happen when you get into a new relationship like the one Battlebots has with Discovery now.
Yeah, we would get some sit-down meetings where they would give us updates on the schedule and the new announcements on different ideas like the Desperado or the bounties. And I think it was kind of a learn as you go. They tried a sort of like a tag team matchup where two robots, it was 2-on-2, and you had to tag your teammate to get them to go in. But if you're a spinner, you know, there's a chance you could damage your teammate. So that was kind of a bit of a mess there. And I think they used some of the footage for that fight for one of the commercials. And then I guess they realized that, you know, that wasn't going to work, and they moved on to something else. And then I think they tried the bounties, and nobody was, I guess, foolish enough to try to challenge Tombstone or Minotaur willingly. So I think it was more of a learning experience. We were learning together, just based on our reactions and our behavior. They would kind of adapt to the schedule and see what worked best. But I think the whole new format with the pre-qualifying rounds and the tournament bracket is a huge improvement. It just gives everyone such a good chance, and it also a lot of opportunities for a good show.
All right, so let's ask some easy questions now, since I've hit you with the hard ones, and we've had a rather constructive conversation so far. I got to tell you, this last episode that we saw, I don't know if there's been a better knockout, a better moment, at least in this season, than the Son of Waiachi against Monsoon. I mean, that was incredible. Just because both bots, you didn't know really who the favorite was going into it, because both had been very effective up until that point. And then for them to hit each other and do as much damage to them as to each other, themselves, and then finally that one final knockout. What's been your favorite moment from Battlebots this season, if you had to pick one? Or maybe, if you're toying around with a couple, you can share those as well.
Oh, I think my favorite moment, I guess I got to say it was the main event of the first episode, Tombstone versus Minotaur. It was a fight that everyone wanted to see, and that's another, the benefit from this new match. You can have two very powerful robots fighting each other, and if one loses, they're not knocked out. They can continue on. But that match, we were watching them in the pits. We had some TV screens where they laid out for us so we can watch some of the matches live, and those were some hard hits. Everybody was just oohing and ahhing after every hit, and it was just like cataclysmic. Every impact, both robots flying across the arena, and then being able to see the damage afterwards and thinking, wow, like, are they going to be able to make it for tomorrow? They have to fight tomorrow again. But I think that one was just a great way to start and set the mood for the entire tournament. Like, basically sending the message, you're here to fight. It's going to be grueling. You have 4 matches. They can put you against the best right away. There's no mercy. Just be ready to repair your robot and try to be in tip-top shape for the next match.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite quote from the whole season, was the infamous Ray Billings "sorry about your floor" quote, which I'm still waiting for Battlebots to release that line of merchandise, T-shirts and hats. But yeah, that was great. I do love the bar that match alone set, and it's been very fun to watch ever since. Now, what is the one bot that you're either the most envious of, or that you see and you're just like, wow, if we could go back and redo our thing, we'd want to go that direction?
That's a good one. So there was a new entry this year. I think it was a break off from another team. It was actually Valkyrie. So that was I don't think it's had too much airtime yet. But they're an undercutter design, big blue disc, 2-wheeled. It's basically if you get rotator and cut it in half. But the reason I really liked that robot, I saw they were actually in the same pit lane that we were.
Yeah.
And I kept going over to look at their robot because it just reminded me of my middleweight robot, and I really liked that undercutter design. And when we proposed the idea for rotator to Battlebots back in 2016, I added the second blade design to try to make it very unique and different because they were looking for new designs. But, ideally you want to power into one big weapon, and that would have been, like, I think the next evolution for my middleweight robot, just scaling it up. That's what a lot of builders do because, it's a proven design. So basically getting a big scaled up version of Blue Flame. They just reminded me of that when I saw Valkyrie, and I said, oh man, that's a cool looking robot. But they have this cool feature where their frame is so wide that their disc actually sticks out of the back. So I thought that was really, really, really cool idea. And yeah, that's just one robot that I really like the look of it, the style and everything.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Valkyrie, a very good team, well-driven bot. And I certainly hope it does well the rest of the season. Now, is there a bot, a matchup, a dream matchup for you, or maybe a rival one that you're really looking to get a piece of? Because we've seen some rivals so far this season, Overhaul and Sawblaze, and then, of course, there's some history with Bronco and Whiplash, which we could see later on. But, there's some rivalry out there to be had. Is there a rivalry for you, or just a dream matchup?
Dream matchup? I guess the dream matchup would always be if you can go up against one of the best robots and just beat them decisively. So maybe going up against a Gigabyte or Tombstone or a Minotaur and being able to beat them decisively would be a dream matchup. But in terms of like a rivalry, I guess I got to say it. I'm really good friends with the team Witch Doctor. we competed a lot in the Bots IQ days. That's actually how I met Andreas Suarez and Mike Gilatli and Paul Garrett and the guys from Team Witch Doctor. And in the middleweight class, we're actually 50-50. I beat them the first time with my middleweight version of, I guess, Rotator, and their middleweight version of Witch Doctor, and then they beat me the second time. They ended up getting first place, and I got second place in the tournament. And then now in 2016, I guess the producers learned of our friendship and made us face each other, and they beat me pretty quickly. I had a lot of learning to do on the heavyweight side, so I don't know if they're keeping track. Now I'm like, oh man, now I'm down one. It's not 50-50 anymore.
All right. Well, hey, Victor, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk some Battlebots this week. I really enjoy seeing you guys out there. I'm hoping, obviously, for Season 4. We want Season 4, but right now we are enjoying the hell out of Season 3, which Part 2 of Season 3 will resume. Next week, there is an episode tonight on Discovery, which is a repeat, or I'm sorry, on the Science Channel, which is a repeat, but with bonus content. So, hey, Victor, best of luck the rest of the season. I'm sure I'll talk to you again real soon, but thank you once again, and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, remember to watch Battlebots coming back August 3rd, 8 p.m. on the Discovery Channel. We're only halfway through.
There you go. Works the same frontwards as backwards. Victor Soto of Rotator. You have a great night. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take one more quick little break, and then I have the post-game comments from the Pirates' big victory over the Carolina Cobras. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. All right, we are back for these final moments of the Fan Show on this Wednesday evening. Don't forget, tomorrow night, brand new episode. Just a few episodes left for the month of July, which, big news in case you missed it, July is now and new all-time record holder for listens in a single month's time. That's right, plays, downloads, tuning in live, whatever. If there's a way to listen to it and you have done it, this is now the biggest month, and we've still got 2 episodes left after this. So, Fan Nation, thank you so very much. And, of course, it couldn't be done without you guys, and I appreciate all the love and support. Don't forget to vote for the Fan Show for People's Choice Podcast, as well as Sports Podcast at podcastawards.com. We've got some interviews to share with you guys, some post-game segments from the big game. It definitely lived up to the hype. Yeah, the game from the Massachusetts friendly area. I say that because I got yelled at by some random guy. So here are some of those segments from after the Pirates' big victory over the Carolina Cobras. First up is the man Nick Hague, the linebacker from Spokane, from Massachusetts to Spokane, now back in his own backyard of Worcester. Here he is.
Here post-game with the man, the myth, the legend, the beast from the East. We're in the East now. First time the Fan Show has been on this side of the country, and you guys get the win. How you feeling, my friend?
Feeling great. Obviously, when you get a win, that's all you got. That's all you start the week with, is just trying to get the win. So when you get that, everything else goes out the door, and you build off this. A win like that, we needed it. Was huge. Really put us in some, in a good position now going into the playoffs, stuff like that. So we just gotta stay on top and just keep it moving and get these next couple games down and finish number 1 and just go strong in the playoffs.
You're in your backyard. You guys are in sole possession of first place, controlling your own destiny on an expansion team. How does that make you feel as a player on this team?
I mean, it's you feel great. You realize from top to bottom from the organization, through coaching, through owners, through all the players, everybody right now is just giving their 100%, giving their all, coming out every day, busting their ass. And you need that, especially with a first-year organization. You have a lot of new guys and new faces and different pieces. Everyone's coming together in 1 year. So for us to come together and be molding and gelling the way we are, we're very appreciative of that. But also at the same time, we know we can't let go. We can't let down one bit. We just got to keep this going.
Seemed like second half there was some momentum swing, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. What changed, if anything, going into that half?
I mean, I just think you got to keep pinning your ears back and go. I think especially in the arena game, you tell everybody it's so fast paced and the game changes that quick. And at one point we were up, I think 21-9 or 21-6, I think it was. Next it was 22-22. It was just like that. So that's how arena works. And this was like one of those games we knew we were going to be in for. We knew it wasn't going to be a blowout. We knew it was going to be a close game because it's a hell of a team. They're coached by a great guy and they got great teammates and great players over there. So we had to make sure we came out and gave it all. And like I said, we just made sure we came out halftime, pin our ears back, make sure everyone's flying around both sides of the ball and give it 100% to get the win.
Now, fellow Boston native Sean Brackett got player of the game this evening, and of course he was the one down there on the field when the game was on the line, not the defense. You feel confident having a quarterback like Sean Brackett? Oh,
always. I mean, we love Breezy. Breezy's the man. Every time he's got the ball in his hands, you know what it's about. He's got ice water in his veins, and we ride behind him, and he's a hell of a leader, hell of a quarterback, and somebody else. We wouldn't want anybody else leading this team, so we love having him.
All right, well, my man, congratulations on all the success this season. We miss you back home, but, man, I'm glad I could make it. This is the man, Nick Hague, on the Fan Show.
Shout out to the West Coast, baby. Miss y'all. Hey, we still got the A's and the I's around here. We'll bring it back to you. We love you. East Coast to West Coast, worldwide, baby.
This guy. All right. Thanks, Nick. Oh. All right, I am here post-game with the mastermind, Amir Ishmael of the Massachusetts Pirates. I did not put that evil on you, Amir. I did not put that evil on you.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, Richard. Mastermind is not the case. It's easy with the group of guys that we have and the coaching staff we have. It makes my job easy. Hopefully we don't have to wait till the last second, but by design we wanted to make sure they had no time left or the least amount of time left to score. And so we did that. And the name of the game is the possessions and getting the extra possession, being that we got the kickoff return at the end of half. It was going to generally time up that we get that last possession, depending on when we score. And I talked to I trust our offense. My offensive coordinator is great. He does a great job. That we're going to milk the clock and we're score when we want to score, and that was it right there. Last play, all for all the Marlboros. We had to get the win, and they did a great job. We didn't want to leave it in the hands of the field goal kick, even though Ali knocked in a couple nice deuces for us. That that definitely towards the end helped us out. But we had some protection breakdowns in the field goal and the extra point, and we missed a couple extra points. And I'm going to go for the win every time.
Now, you're normally a pretty defensive-minded coach, but this one kind of came to a shootout. And luckily you had Fan Show Player of the Game Sean Brackett out there slinging them. I mean, how do you feel knowing that the game is in his hands when the offense takes the field?
He's been great for us all year long, and we cleaned up a couple things. Yeah, there was a couple of, forces where they had an interception, and, the interception for a touchdown, kind of switched up. The possession, in terms of a break point, if you think of it in tennis, and then all of a sudden we're tied, even though we're up, and then with the ball, and that that is sometimes tough to come back from. We got to do something defensively to get it back, and I felt like second half, I think we shut them out third quarter, and we had that that fumble recovery, and so we had a couple stops. In the second half that were huge for us. That was our game plan, is to string it along, make them run multiple plays, no one big one-hitter quitters. And I think they only had one, that one-hitter catch on third and long. My God, what an amazing catch. Come on, we're bracketing them. One's in front, one's behind, and he makes that catch. There's nothing you can do. Congratulations to you guys. They did do a great job. McCollum's been doing this for a long time, and he's had those receivers for a few years, so they have good rapport and, did an amazing job. But, just making them run extra plays is huge defensively, and as long as the ball's in our hands at Brackett, we trust him, and he made the throw, and the offensive line did a great job, blocking. So everybody did their job, and we executed and finished, and that's what we harped on: is finish, and we did that.
Sole possession of first place, very much in control of your own destiny going into the postseason. How does that make you feel, being your first-year head coach of an expansion team here in Worcester, Mass?
I first want to thank our ownership, Mr. Hassan Yatim, and his son Jawad Yatim, for the opportunity and trusting me that they believed in me to do what I came to do and bring the guys that I wanted to bring in, and with the help of Jawad as well, with the recruitment process. And so we put together something unique and special, and I think just having it that we're in control of our own destiny is huge. Home field advantage in the playoffs is tremendous, and that is going to pack the house and in the stands, and we don't want to go to Carolina or Columbus or Jacksonville, and so I think this locked in for our. I may or may not have locked in our first round playoff, so I'm gonna have to see how it played out and who won, who beat who on the other side of things between Jacksonville, Columbus, and other guys. But feels great. All around, it feels tremendous. It feels amazing, and we can't take our foot off the pedal. We can't relax. We can't exhale. I tell my guys that all the time. After you do a good job and you beat somebody and you make a good play, it's not time for that. Nope. It's not time for that. We got to keep
all gas, no break for Amir Ismail and the Pirates. But hey, congratulations on the success so far this year and continued the rest of the season.
Number one, baby. Number one.
This game after a thriller in the Cove. Massachusetts Pirates over the Carolina Cobras, 56-53. Fan show player of the game, Sean Brackett. Hell of a night. How do you feel after this win?
Very good, very good. Carolina's a great team. They came in here, they played well, and just happy we played well and come away with a victory.
Now, of course, this means that you guys still sole possession of first place. This could have had a few different outcomes for how that went. Very much in control of your own destiny. What's going to be the mindset going forward in the home stretch of the regular season?
Just every week we got to be 1-0. So, like I said, we control our own destiny. So if we win every week, that's where we want to be at the end of the season, and that's what we're going to focus on, just little things and improving week to week.
Now, it got into a bit of a shootout at the end here, of course, but that's what you kind of want in a matchup like this. But, of course, when the defense gets a stop and then you want to go and you want to drive, you want to make sure that you're doing good 1-minute drill, as it would be in the NAL. What was the play calling, and how was the focus for the offense going into that final stretch to the last minute?
Well, like you said, it was kind of a shootout at the end. So in these type of games, you want to be the team with the ball last. So I think we handled it a little bit. We're up and down a little bit, but at the end of the day, we were the team that had the ball last, and we executed that last play and came away with a victory.
Now, of course, Carolina still has 2 wins to your 1, so I don't know how it works as far as the remainder of the season, but at least now, if you guys win out, you will host a playoff game, and then, of course, the championship would be here in Mass. How would that feel to you, being from the area and playing for the Pirates?
Yeah, it'll be big. We definitely have that. That's one of our goals, is to be the number 1 seed. Secure home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So if we keep on winning, like we said, we just got to go 1-0 every week, keep on improving, keep on getting better, and we want to play our best football at the end of the year. So we definitely want to have home field for sure.
All right, you heard it here. They want to have home field. Fan show player of the game, Sean Brackett, quarterback of the Massachusetts Pirates. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this Wednesday edition of The Fan Show. Don't forget, all new episode. Tune in tomorrow night. It looks like we're going to have UFC legend and Battlebots commentary man himself, Kenny Florian, on The Fan Show. So, to my knowledge, it's been confirmed, but of course, anything can happen. So we will hope for the best. Hopefully, we have a great episode for you tomorrow night. Don't forget to follow, share, listen, love, and vote. Of course, vote for The Fan Show for best, for People's Choice and Best Sports Podcast. Couldn't do any of this without you guys, so thank you so much again. Thank you to the Pirates and the Cobras, both great organizations, making sure I got taken care of over the weekend. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his one player's spot? Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.